What is up, everybody? My name's Myth. Welcome back to my channel, Mystic Watch. And today we are going to be doing our first analysis video. So in this video, we will be going over the latest unit to be released in Japan, which is the 4th Hokage, or also known as Minato. Full name Minato Namikaze. Yeah. And his translated tag is Lightning with the Speed of God. So this is going to be a very controversial unit to arrive to the Naruto game, similar to how when Rock Lee was first introduced, there was the first signs showing of power creep in this game. And what power creep refers to, for those of you who don't know, is the power levels of the units that are being released over time gradually increase, so that the newer units have just overall better stats, a better reason to obtain those units over the current ones released in the game. And the reason such a thing exists is because it is very natural for companies trying to make money who, let's say they release 10 units, and then a majority of the people have 5 or 6 of the units. And if they release an 11th unit with the same power level as the current 10, there's less reason to try to attempt to go for that unit, because it's like, why would I want to waste pearls on an additional unit that isn't that much stronger than the current ones that I have right now? And because of that reasoning, power creep exists. The need to try to get the new unit because it is better than what is currently available in the game. And then they also try to ramp up the difficulty of missions. So that's how we saw like S rank, and we'll definitely be seeing more of S rank, as you'll notice when the Kushina raid comes out. It will be I'll make a video on that when it drops in Japan. Global, which should be, maybe in like next Wednesday, or the 8th, like the 9th or 10th, right, of December, roughly around those days. So that raid, similar to the Hokage raid, is a difficult raid to do, and it becomes easier with the newer units because of how stronger they have become. So today we'll be explaining why Minato is going to be, in my eyes, the best unit in the game. So of all the 6 stars to exist, of all the units to exist, the 4th Hokage will be the best. So we will start by going over his stats really quickly, and then explaining what those numbers mean in comparison to other characters that are also very good. So Minato HP with pills. So all the calculations that I'll be doing will include the pills. So actually I need to check that. This will be that, because I forgot that pills increase a unit's health by 300, and I only wrote it as 100, so it's just my side notes. Okay, so with pills, Minato's HP will be 1598. So that'll be 1298 plus the 300 that you can increase his health by. And the pills, the reason I'm including those is because they're very important in the calculations of damage to show the maximum potential damage a character can do. And we're talking about with no abilities, because when someone obtains a unit, this is the guaranteed maximum damage they can do. I don't want to create hypothetical situations where, if I have 2 copies of him, or if I have 4 copies of someone else. This is just with the base unit, maximum damage. So 1598 health. Attack with pills will be 1562, and it's a good thing to note that in my eyes, 1 point of attack is equivalent to 3 points of health. Attack is a very powerful stat line, and we see this between Kakashi and Zabuza as well. They're almost like counterparts of each other, but Zabuza has most of his stat points allocated in attack, which makes him a lot better unit overall. And the main reason for that is because your jutsus are based off your attack and have nothing to do with your health. So now we're looking at his normal jutsu. His normal jutsu does 4 chakra, does 4.8, has a 4.8 multiplier, and when you multiply it out with his attack of 1562, it becomes 7498 after rounding the decimal. So that's his normal jutsu. And we will compare this. We'll start with the normal jutsus, and we'll compare it with the other units that I've laid out. So I have 2 units that I'd like to compare him with. And one will be Choji, the new one, Butterfly Choji, that just got released. And the other one will be Lee. Both of these are solely damage dealers. And that's why they're proper units to compare with. But actually, before I do that, let me go over all of his abilities, and then we'll go into the analysis of it. So, his attack range, and this is one of the biggest reasons why he's, in my eyes, a busted character. He has attack range of very long or super long. The normal units of pre-Minato, the highest range unit was long, right? You got your Itachi, you got your Sakura, Gaara, the bravery one, the yellow one. All of those had long range units, and the trend of the stat line to range was that short range units have the highest stat line because they can do a lot of damage up close, right? They're risking taking a lot of damage because they have to put themselves in the face of an enemy. And then on top of that, they normally won't have the ability to hit multiple people with their normal attacks. We're not talking about jutsus here. And then mid-range, they have a little bit less stats, but they have the ability to maybe, they can outrange a short person. They can hit multiple people a lot easier. And the other thing to note with range is that your field skills is directly related to the range. So if you have a healer with a short range, you can only heal within that short range of his. If you have a healer with a long range, such as Sakura, anyone within her attack range can be healed, which is why Sakura is also a very good unit. So, and then we have the long range, which is even less than the mid range in terms of stat line, but that makes up for the enormous range that they have, putting themselves at a very safe spot. And the other thing that I should have mentioned is that the ranges for combination attacks are very useful. So if you have someone with long range somewhere in the middle of the stage, and you have a mid-range person or a short-range person attacking a unit, more often than not, that long-range person will contribute in damage as well. Because, if the enemy is within their range, they'll attack. So that's the other benefit of having long range. But Minato is the first super long range or extra long range. And he does not follow the trend of decreasing stats for increasing range. He actually goes up in stats and has stats of a strong mid-range unit. So his range increased, and then they increased the baseline of stats that you would see for a long-range unit. And that's half the reason, right? Half the reason alone is that his stats are extremely well put out, too well put out for someone of his range. And then now you got his field skill and buddy skill, both of which are extremely useful. 10 to 15% dodging, a chance of dodging when attacked for field skill, and then buddy skill is 15% chance of dodging when attacked. Both of these will never be useless. You have other people who have reduces chance of being immobilized by 20 to 25%. That's Tsunade's. That is a very situational field skill, because if you're not up against someone that can immobilize you, it's literally useless. The chance of dodging will never be useless. If you unless you just one shot everything and never take a hit. But the way that the game is currently set up, that does not happen. So we have those are his field and buddy skills. That, with the addition of his stat line and range, already has him as a top tier character. Now, the final thing to top it all off is the chakra cost of his jutsus, along with the multipliers. So he has 4 chakra jutsus, the lowest of any 6-star unit, right? All 6-star units have at least 4 chakra. And then they can go upwards to 7 chakra, as you see with Deidara. Meaning 4 chakra jutsu, that means an 8 chakra ultimate. And there's two sides to this point as well. Well, how, like, why does it matter if someone has 4 chakra versus like 6 chakra when you can just, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. So if you have someone with 4 chakra versus 6 chakra, what's the difference? Like, what does that mean? Why should that matter? So there's two sides to this argument. If, let's say, you get to the last stage of any raid, any mission, and you're on stage 2 out of 3, and then you leave the last unit alive, and then you just stall. You just put one person on the unit while you just keep on wasting turns to get your chakra up. In that case, no, chakra doesn't matter, right? Because if I can just wait 2 more turns and then I'll have my complete chakra. So why should chakra cost matter? The chakra cost matters a lot within fights. So if I blow an 8 chakra jutsu, let's take Rasengan Naruto for example, on a raid that does not kill the boss, because for all we know, missions will just keep on being harder as they come along. So right now, maybe it does kill the boss, but for the S rank Hokage mission, for example, you can't one shot them. You need like multiple jutsus to bring down the first Hokage. So why does 8 chakra or low chakra matter there? It's because if I use my ultimate jutsu of 8 chakra on Hashirama, for example, right, first Hokage, then that means in 4 rotations I will have my jutsu, my normal jutsu, up to use again immediately, right? Meaning that my damage output over time in long fights is a lot better because I can consistently spam out jutsus. And that is where it seems like this game is heading towards, because they're adding S-rank missions, and S-rank missions aren't something where you can just, get to the boss round, save your ultimate, and one-shot them. It requires 3, 4, 5 ultimates to take out a boss. And that is where low chakra is extremely important. So now that we covered that, let's talk about comparing him to other units so you guys have an idea of, how good is he in terms of Choji? How good is he in terms of Lee? So we'll go over his normal jutsu, which is 4.8 multiplier times his 1562 attack, which gets you 7498 after rounding. That is his normal jutsu. Now let's take a look at Choji's. 5 chakra for a 3.6 multiplier times Choji's 2136 attack after pills to net him a 7680. Well, it would be 690 after rounding, so 7690, making him have Choji is the hardest hitter for a normal jutsu, what it seems like. Unless I'm missing out on someone. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Choji is the hardest normal hitting jutsu pre any abilities. Now let's take a look at Lee. Lee has a normal jutsu chakra of 5, a 2304 attack after pills, and a 3.2 multiplier that is 7373 for damage. Right? That's before using his ultimate. And that is lower than both Choji's and the 4th Hokage's. So already you're seeing a difference. For someone who has almost 1,000 more attack than the 4th Hokage, his first jutsu does less damage by 150 about. So just think about it in that sense, right? Attack, the numbers you see aren't everything. Every part of the character has to be taken into account. So for the 4th Hokage, for having, it's about 800 less attack, he does more damage than Lee with his normal jutsu. Now let's get into the ultimate jutsu. The 4th Hokage has the highest multiplier on an ultimate jutsu of 11. So that'll net him a 17,182 damage ultimate. Choji's has an 8 multiplier for, for 10 chakra versus 4th Hokage's 8 chakra, and does 17,088 damage after the 17,088 damage. So that's already 100 less than the 4th Hokage for 2 more chakra. Alright, now let's get to Lee. So Lee's is a little bit tricky because we have to give a value to his ultimate. How much do we value the 150 attack boost, 150% attack boost for 10 turns. Oh, let me pause this for a second and wait for the phone to end. My bad. Okay, my bad. We got that fixed up. I got the cell phone, not the home phone in my room, and it's really obnoxious. But let's get back to where we were. So Lee's ultimate jutsu requires 10 chakra. It gives a 150% attack boost for 10 turns, and then gives him 4 chakra for his next turn to use his normal jutsu. So let's go into what those numbers actually mean. 150% attack boost is the same as a 2.5 multiplier, for an attack. So if you took his attack and multiplied by 2.5, that is what 150% attack boost actually means. So his attack after, let me actually pull it up. His attack after the 150% increase is 5,760. So he will have that attack for 10 turns. Now, he gets a 4 chakra. He gets 4 chakra back, meaning on his next rotation, so after 3 more turns, he can use his normal jutsu. So his ultimate does not allow him to use his jutsu that turn, making it him absolutely useless for 1 turn. That is something that we have to point out. So now we look at the damage of his ultimate. His ultimate, after a 3.2 multiplier, his normal jutsu after 3.2 multiplier from the attack that was given to him after using his ultimate is 18,432. So that is about 1,300 or 1,200 more than the fourth Hokage's ultimate. So now if we take a look at it in this terms, so what does that mean? So he had to have 10 chakra, while the fourth Hokage had to have 8. So meaning 2 rotations ago, the fourth Hokage had already used his ultimate if you were running them both at the same time. And that at this point, the fourth Hokage would have 2 chakra back already. So now Lee would have to use his ultimate, which consumes a turn, right? It makes him useless for that turn. So when the fourth Hokage's turn comes back up, he's at 3 chakra. Now we have Lee use his his normal jutsu to do that 18,432 damage, and then the next turn, the fourth Hokage's jutsu is back up, his normal jutsu. So in that sense, for 1 more turn than Lee, the fourth Hokage can do 17,000 damage, 17,182, plus 7,498. So we're talking about 24,000 damage in 1 more turn than Lee, without the downside of taking slip damage to himself. Of course, Lee gets the benefit of having that attack boost, so making each one of his hits almost 6,000 damage. So that's something on his own that should be credited to Lee. But in terms of raw damage, Lee wins after that whole 10 chakra, waiting for a turn, then using his normal jutsu. But the fourth Hokage's damage is so consistent, has no downside to it. Jutsus are absurd, right? For someone who has 2 less chakra than Lee, doesn't have to wait a full turn after, can do 1,000 less damage than Lee, right, on his ultimate. So that is insane. And he does, more damage than Choji. And Choji's a short range who's supposed to specialize in damage. So all of those put together, Minato is the number 2 hardest hitting unit in the game behind Lee. But Lee has conditions set, so he can accomplish that. And then, other than that, everything that I put together before that explained it just shows how busted he is. So there's every piece of Minato is absolutely insane. It's not like Choji where only his damage is good. He doesn't have a good field skill. It's like Tsunade has, a good jutsu, a good ultimate, but her field skill is useless, her buddy skill is useless. So, her range is short. So the fourth Hokage, there's nothing bad about him. There's no flaw to using him. He's almost he is a must-have on every team if you're running, if you manage to pull him. And for those of you who don't have good accounts, I would suggest this is the time to try to start over if you have to. If you're free to play, you haven't been getting lucky, this is the character that you want. So hopefully that explains everything. That's my analysis video on the fourth Hokage, why he is the #1 character in the game. And he'll be dropping in global in less than a week. So we only have like 4 more days, and then we can try to go for him. And of course I'll be pouring my wallet into the summoning video, and hopefully you guys can watch. So please tell me if you like my analysis video. It's the first one I'm doing. Hopefully I explained everything as in detail as possible. You guys have a good understanding. And this is something that I actually really enjoy. I love analyzing things. I like looking at numbers, comparing things, and putting them on their own tier. For those of you who don't know, I am a moderator on the Reddit subpage, and I did, help almost revamp or reconstruct the entire tier list. So if you guys do want to see how I ordered everything, be sure to go on the Reddit and take a look at that. So you guys have an idea of, who's good, who's okay, who's average, who's amazing, and in that case, that would be the fourth Hokage. So thank you guys for watching so much, and until next time, peace out.